What is going on, you guys? It is your boy Matt Talk Sports. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. I know I did. Ate a lot, had a good time watching these great NFL games, and I'm assuming you guys did too if you made it to this video and clicked on it and to watch me talk about those games because this video right here, I am breaking down the Thanksgiving games, the first three we had today, and I'm predicting and breaking down the rest of the Week 13 NFL slate. So I'm happy to do it. I'm feeling jovial after the game I just watched. And I'm not going to talk about it first, but man, oh man, do I have some things to talk about in that game because Lamar Jackson gets all the praise in the world. And I love Lamar. I think he's one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life. But people are afraid to criticize him. They just are. He's been subpar the past four games he played. Minnesota, he was subpar. Cleveland, subpar. Great defense. He was subpar, though. Jets, subpar. And then tonight, he played one of the worst games I've ever seen him play. He's playing the worst defense in the NFL. He can't even have a passing touchdown. Now, he should have had one. Isaiah likely fumbled the ball while he was heading into the end zone. Great defensive play by Cincinnati Bengals, but Lamar has been horrible. He had one pick tonight, two lost fumbles, and he arguably should have had three picks instead of one. So he was horrible tonight, and people were shitting on Josh Allen for having a six touchdown game but having bad turnovers in that game and winning the game. And people were shitting on Josh Allen for having two turnovers playing against the best defense in the NFL and one of the best defenses we've seen in the NFL for the past 5 years. So before I get to that game, if you made this far in the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe right now to Matt Talk Sports for more videos like this and more content like this. Follow me everywhere, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Matt Talk Sports, and I'll see you there. Now, we won't talk Ravens versus Bengals first. We will talk about the first game of the slate. And man, the Lions playoff hopes are in jeopardy, and their season might be on the line next Thursday against the Cowboys. The Packers going to Detroit. They beat the Lions 31-24. Dan Campbell is now 1-5 on Thanksgiving. Packers moved to 8-3-1. The Lions fall to 7-5. Man, Jordan Love is one of the best quarterbacks against man coverage and the blitz, and he proved that today. Jordan Love was really good today. Maybe even great. 18 to 30, 234 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, and a great QBR and a great rating. I mean, this is what you want to see from Jordan Love. This is what he looks like when he's great, and his greatness is amongst the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Like, he is really great when he's great, if that makes sense. He is upper echelon when he's playing his A game, and he played his A game today. He was doing whatever he wanted to the Lions defense, and he ended this game perfectly. The pass to Dontavian Wicks, trusting his receiver, and Wicks having sure hands and catching the ball. Jordan Love was great today. I want to see more of this. I want to see more consistency on the part of Jordan Love because he is great when he's great and he's horrible when he's horrible. So more greatness from Jordan Love, and I will be seated, and I will give him his due justice. Josh Jacobs returned today, 17 and 83, no touchdowns. He did what he needed to do. He damn near averaged 5 yards a carry. Dontavian Wicks, what a game. Sure hands Dontavian Wicks. He had 7 targets today, and he caught 6 balls, and he had 2 touchdowns. He had 6 receptions for 94 yards, 2 touchdowns. Christian Watson, man, what a difference he makes for this offense. I like this dude a lot, especially when he's healthy, which is the biggest concern with him. He can't stay on the field, but he has some really great intangibles when he's out there on the field, and he looks great. He's fast, he makes these tough catches, and he's great on a go route. So Christian Watson, 4 of 80, 1 touchdown today. Luke Musgrave, 1 for 23. Romeo Dobbs, 4 for 20, 1 touchdown. Romeo Dobbs is one of the best wide receivers on the goal line. When he's there on the 5-yard line and above, he is great. There's not too many routes that the corner is going to have success on him. So this wide receiving core and Jordan Love is cooking the entirety of this game. And then you look at the Packers defense. Micah Parsons is scary. This is why they went out to go get him. 2.5 sacks, and he was terrorizing that Lions O-line. He had so many big sacks in this game. He was great. He was the biggest enforcer on that D-line of the Packers. The bad thing about this game for the Packers defense is Devontae Wyatt went out with injury. I don't know how long it's going to be. I don't know the severity of it, but hopefully he's back and ready because he is great with Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary. So hopefully he's back. Let's get to the Lions. The Lions, man. Listen, Jared Goff was pretty goddamn good today. I mean, he did what he needed to do. He did enough to win the game, per se. 20, 26, 256 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Jameer Gibbs, 20 for 68. David Montgomery, 8 for 32, 1 touchdown. And Jared Goff also had a 24-yard run. Who the fuck would have guessed that? Amon-Ra St. Brown went down in the first quarter. Jameson Williams stepped up, 7 for 144, 1 tud. Tom Kennedy, little young white boy, was cooking today, 4 for 36. Isaac Tesla has 5 catches on the season and 3 touchdowns. He was 2 for 35 today. Jameer Gibbs, 3 for 18. David Montgomery, 2 for 16. The major problem with this Lions offense is their O-line is not as good as it used to be, and the play calling is ridiculous. I mean, listen, we love Dan Campbell because he is such a gutsy head coach. He will do things that other head coaches won't, and sometimes it will pay off. And most of the time, it has been paying off these past few seasons, but that goal line call with Dave Montgomery throwing the ball. By the way, if you guys didn't know, if you're a casual, he's a fucking running back. This is first and goal, and your play call is an RPO with David Montgomery as the quarterback. I mean, Jared Goff handed it off to him, and he had an option to pass it or throw it, and he chose to pass it. And it was incomplete, but that just fucks up with the momentum you had on that drive. So, to my opinion, the offensive line has not been good for the Lions recently. Ragnow just unretired, so maybe that changes things. They couldn't run the ball at all today, and the play calling for this Lions team since Ben Johnson has been inconsistent, and it has just been weird and not as effective as it has been these past 2 seasons. So the Lions are trending down. They're 7-5, and the Packers are starting to gain momentum like we thought they would. The Packers are starting looking like that team that is a Super Bowl contender, if not the Super Bowl winner this year. Despite having Tucker Kraft go down with an injury, they are starting to pick up momentum. And I like to see that from them. The Lions have to face these next opponents in these upcoming weeks. They have to face the Cowboys on Thursday night. By the way, I think the Cowboys win that game. I know the Lions are great on offense against teams like the Cowboys, but man, give me the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys have the best offense in the NFL. We'll get to that game. Then they have to play the Rams, the Steelers, the Vikings, and the Bears. So the last 3 games are favorable for them. But the NFC is so stacked. Who knows if they get into the playoffs with a 10-7 record? I don't think they would. Maybe even an 11-6 record. So, the Detroit Lions, man, you guys are going to have to be damn near perfect at the end of the season. And I don't think they will be. So, the Packers, they're starting to pick up momentum. They're starting to look like the team that everyone was fearing heading into this year. They are starting to be more consistent. They just are. They're looking like one of the most consistent teams in the NFL, one of the most scary teams in the NFL. There's a lot on the horizon, and it's looking bright. Packers, they moved to 8-3-1. The Lions fall to 7-5. I picked the Cowboys to beat the Chiefs all week until today. I switched my pick to the Chiefs, and I hated myself for it. I don't know why I did it. It was just the Chiefs needed this win. But before today, before I switched my pick, I was like, the Cowboys' offense is so good, it's going to cause problems for this Chiefs defense, no matter how good this Chiefs defense is. And the Cowboys proved me wrong on both sides of the football here. The Cowboys win 31-28 in Dallas. And they looked goddamn good today. I mean, they looked great today. Dak looked really great out of the interception to start the game. He was sensational. But most importantly, before we get to this Cowboys offense, we might have to show love to Jerry Jones, which a lot of people don't like to do because a lot of people think he's a dick and he shouldn't be running a football team, which is fair. But he made an exceptional decision to get Quinnen Williams, because ever since Quinnen Williams was added to this team and this defense has been playing with fire. I mean, this defense has been great, man, since Quinnen Williams joined the squad. I mean, Jadeveon Clowney and Devontae Fowler Jr. were causing havoc on the Chiefs' O-line today. Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark are just a great pairing on that defensive line. And then you have Jadeveon Clowney, who's a veteran. Then you have Dante Fowler Jr. and Overshown. I mean, you're going to have some production, and that's what's been showing. Like, this D-line and the secondary, mind you, has been playing better for the Cowboys. Now, if you look at the Chiefs' stats offensively, you're like, this is the type of stats where they should win, and you're not wrong. But the Cowboys had really good stops during this game. The Chiefs had some horrible penalties, man, that just honestly killed them. Pat Mahomes, if you look at his rating and his QBR today, like, he had a good game. But there are some throws Mahomes missed that he just doesn't miss. And honestly, he's been missing them for the past 2 or 3 seasons. Mahomes, 23 for 34, 261 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. Took 3 sacks today. Kareem Hunt actually had some really good rushes today. 14 of 58, no touchdowns. Mahomes 3 for 30 rushing. Rasheed Rice, 8 for 92, 2 tuds. He was great today. I know he had 8 receptions on 12 targets, but I'm surprised they didn't throw him the ball more. Xavier Worthy, 4 for 61, and the majority of that yards came on a huge play. Xavier Worthy might be a bust. Keon Coleman's a bust too, but as a Bills fan, I feel like I have to say that for my fellow Bills fans. Xavier Worthy might be a bust as well. Travis Kelsey, 5 for 45, 1 tud. I'm surprised they didn't feed him more. He only had 6 targets. Travis Kelsey's been really good this year, despite how bad he was last year. And then Hollywood Brown, 2 for 21, touchdown. So ultimately, the Chiefs' O-line let them down today, and they got bullied, harassed. There were so many penalties on the Chiefs' O-line today. It was honestly getting embarrassing. The Chiefs were just making mental mistakes today that they just don't normally make. The defense was getting harassed today. The Cowboys' offense is the best offense in the NFL. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people hate Dak, and they don't want to give him credit, and they don't want to give the Cowboys credit. For some reason, a lot of people hate the Cowboys. But dude, they were bullying this great Chiefs defense, which is a top 4 defense in the NFL. Trent McDuffie looked like a bozo today. And maybe bozo is too harsh of a word, but he was getting bullied by Pickens and Lamb. Like, there was a lot of DPIs on McDuffie all day. And a lot of people be like, oh, the Chiefs had a lot of bad calls go their way. Yes, were there a lot of late calls on the field? Of course, which I hate, no matter what team it is. I hate the late calls. I mean, they drive me crazy, but a lot of the calls that were made were the right calls. Chiefs fans don't have the right to complain about calls, man. I'm sorry. I hate to be that guy. Y'all don't have the right to complain about calls. So, listen, a lot of the calls, sure, iffy, but a lot of the other calls were spot on, just late pulling them out of the pocket for the refs. The Chiefs defense was getting harassed today, which I did not expect. But the Cowboys offense proved to everyone today on the worldwide scale that they are the best offense in the NFL, in my opinion. Dak Prescott, 27 for 39, 320, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, took 0 sacks today. Not only has the defense on the Cowboys improved, but that O-line has improved as well. And it's getting healthier by the minute. Dak, outside of that first interception he threw, which, by the way, was a great defensive play by the Chiefs. A lot of people were telling me, oh, it was a horrible throw by Dak. Yes, should he have not thrown it? Of course, but he was getting hit as he threw it. And it is what it is. It was a great defensive play. He probably shouldn't have thrown it, but not a bad, horrible play by Dak, in my opinion. I don't know how you guys feel. Let me know how you feel in the comments. The first pick Dak threw. Dak, outside of that first pick, was nearly perfect. I mean, Dak has been unreal this year, and he's been shutting every hater up. I mean, he's first in QBR for a reason. Javonte Williams, Mr. Consistency, 17 for 59. Malik Davis, 3 for 47, 1 tud. CeeDee Lamb didn't drop many balls today, if any. 7 for 112, 1 tud, 9 targets. George Pickens, 6 for 88, 13 targets. George Pickens might be the most electrifying receiver in the NFL. This guy is making splash play after splash play after splash play every week. This guy's an athletic freak. He does all the right things on the football field. Does he have an attitude problem? Sure. Who gives a shit when he's producing like this? I'm sure Jerry Jones doesn't give a shit. He loves guys like this. Look at the great Cowboys teams and the personalities they had on those teams. George Pickens fits right into the personality that successful Cowboys teams had. So I hate to say it. I don't hate the Cowboys as much as everyone else. I love this duo of Lamb and Pickens, and I love Pickens. I wish the Buffalo Bills, Brandon Beane specifically, made that fucking deal with the Steelers. Instead, he goes to the Cowboys, and Brandon Beane, what does he do? Sit on his hands again. So the Cowboys impressed on defense, on offense, and the Chiefs made mistakes that they don't normally make. Mahomes, despite having a good stat line, missed some throws that he doesn't normally miss, or you shouldn't expect him to miss. So the Chiefs are 6-6, and the two teams that are ahead of them in the wild card spot, the Jaguars and the Bills, have tiebreakers over them. Man, oh man. Man, oh man. Are they going to do it? I think they're minus 105 to make the playoffs or miss it. I forget which one it is, but nonetheless, wild to see. So the Chiefs lose today, and I wish I went with my gut pick because I had the Cowboys all week until today, and I changed my mind. So the Chiefs, they fall to 6-6, and the Cowboys move to 6-5-1. And I think they're going to be 7-5-1 after next Thursday night. Dallas Cowboys fans, if you made it this far in the video, whatever you're watching on YouTube right now, or TikTok, Instagram Reels, or YouTube Shorts, let me know how y'all are feeling, because honestly, I'm hyped for you guys. As a Bills fan, you guys beat us twice when we lost 4 straight Super Bowls. I'm past that. I like what y'all are doing right now. George Pickens is one of my favorite receivers in the NFL, one of my favorite players. That dude is electrifying. So let me know how you guys are feeling right now in the comments. Because they had me ecstatic today, despite me betting against them, which I was angry about because I didn't go with my gut, but whatever. Y'all impressed. Now we get to the final game of the Thanksgiving slate. Joey Ice is back. The Bengals, they moved to 4-8. They dominate the Ravens, and the Ravens give one of the worst performances they've given in this past half decade. John Harbaugh, your seat is on fucking fire right now. And honestly, it's not due to you. It's due to how badly your players play today, specifically on offense. The Ravens fall to 6-6. They lose 32-14. And I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go see the Bills versus Bengals next weekend in Buffalo. My first and last game in Highmark. Couldn't be more excited. And obviously, a part of me should be like, man, I hate that Burrow is back, and I hate how good he looked despite his completion percentage not being that great tonight. But I'm excited to watch Burrow and Allen sling it out next Sunday. I'll tell you what, in person, that's going to be something to watch. Two excellent quarterbacks in their primes. Joe Burrow getting healthier, 10 days rest. I can't wait to watch it. We'll talk about the Bengals first because Joe Burrow coming off a horrible turf toe injury, which that injury sounds way nicer than it is. Joe Burrow, 24 for 46, 261 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, only took 1 sack tonight. There's two crazy things that happened tonight. The Bengals have one of the worst O-lines in the NFL, and they have one of the worst defense in the NFL. And if you watch this game, and this was your first game watching the Bengals all year, you'd be like, hey, this O-line's actually pretty good. And hey, this defense is excellent. And that has not been the case the entirety of the season. So outside of the completion percentage tonight for Joe Burrow, he was terrific. I mean, he looked great. And a lot of people, including myself, were like, hey, what would he have done different than Flacco has done these past few games? Well, he's not going to turn the ball over like he did tonight. He's going to take less sacks because, yes, he is primarily a pocket passer, but he is mobile. That's one of the most underrated things about Burrow. His mobility, his sneaky quickness, and his ability to throw the ball on the run. And that shined bright tonight in a couple different scenarios. Burrow not only outplayed Lamar, but he looked like the miles better quarterback than Lamar tonight. Lamar's dealing with stuff, but I don't blame what he did tonight on injuries. We'll get to him soon. Chase Brown, a dude who has been running the ball way better these past few weeks. Let me tell you what he's done in the past 4 of the 5 games he's been in. 12 for 73 and a touchdown against the Jets. 18-99 against the Steelers, 19-107 against the Patriots, and 15-78 against the Baltimore Ravens. So not only is he running the ball better, but the O-line, run blocking wise, is doing a hell of a job recently. So the Bengals, I don't know if it's Zach Taylor, I don't know what's going on, but something's changing over there. Samaje Perine, 14-39. Jamar Chase was just dominant tonight. As soon as he caught his first ball tonight, you're like, okay, he's feeling it. 7-110 on 14 targets, no touchdowns, 15.7 yards per catch. Chase Brown, 17-35. Andre Isovaz, 1 for 29, 1 touchdown efficiency. Mitchell Tinsley, 2 for 22, 9 targets. He had a couple drops tonight, which could have been a touchdown or huge gains. Mike Gesicki, 2 for 19. Samaje Perine, 2 for 15. Tanner Hudson, 1 for 14 and a tud. Drew Sample, 1 for 14. Noah Fant, 1 for 3. I mean, the Bengals were cooking today. I mean, Burrow looked great. Their offense looked rejuvenated with Burrow back. And the mobility that Burrow had and Flacco didn't, and the ability not to turn the ball over as much as Flacco has, shined bright tonight with Burrow's game tonight. He was really good tonight despite the completion percentage. Because if you're just looking at the stats, you're like, oh, he had an all right game today. No. He was great, and he was a game changer tonight. The biggest game changer tonight was the defense of the Bengals. They had 2 sacks on Lamar tonight, and they were overperforming how they've been performing in the previous games this season. They look like a competent defense tonight. So shout out to the Bengals. Geno Stone and the boys came through tonight. They were humming, and they looked really, really good. Osai, 2 sacks tonight. Jordan Battle, Dax Hill, like they shined bright tonight. I don't know what happened to those boys tonight. But honestly, the defense played good for the Bengals, but the Ravens didn't show up tonight. I don't know if Lamar was hoping he was at the dinner table with his family for Thanksgiving. The only player who showed up for the Ravens tonight was Derrick Henry. I mean, and they didn't give him the ball nearly as much as they should have. Lamar Jackson, 17-32, 246 yards passing, 1 pick. He should have had 3 picks, and then he had 2 fumble losses. One of the worst games I've ever seen Lamar Jackson play. One of the worst games. And somehow people are not going to criticize him as much as they should. If this was Josh Allen, there'd be fucking think pieces about how he's the most overrated quarterback in the NFL. But with Lamar Jackson, he somehow gets excused from it. So, hypocrisy, folks. How you treat one quarterback, how you treat another person, make sure you treat that other person the same way as well. Derrick Henry only had 10 carries tonight, man, for 60 yards, 6 yards a carry, 1 touchdown. Why aren't they running the ball more with him? He's been your most consistent player on offense these past few weeks, and you neglect him? What are the Ravens doing? Tom Munkin, what are you doing tonight? Yeah, Lamar was bad tonight. You should have noticed that and leaned on Derrick Henry more because he's getting 6 yards a carry. Lamar Jackson, people are saying he's injured. That people are going to say he's injured. That's why he didn't play good tonight. He was far more mobile than he's been in the past 4 or 5 games or so. He was actually mobile tonight, and he still looked like shit. 6 of 27 rushing, 4.5 yards a carry. Keem Mitchell is another guy. This should have been a game where they should have focused on time of possession, and Henry and Mitchell should have been the focal point here. Because both of them were cooking in the run, and they didn't rely on them enough. The Ravens overall tonight, with the 4 people that ran the ball tonight, 22 carries, 123 yards rushing, and 2 touchdowns, 5.6 yards a carry. Why were they leaning so hard on the passing game? And it was from the get-go, you realized that Lamar didn't have it tonight. Isaiah Likely, 5 for 95, and he had the huge fumble going across the goal line that resulted in a touchback and was the biggest game, arguably the biggest play of the game. Mark Andrews, 4 for 47. Derrick Henry had a 1 catch for 44 yards. DeAndre Hopkins, 2 for 25. Charlie Collier, 1 for 17. Keaton Mitchell, 2 for 12. And Zay Flowers, 2 for 6. Zay Flowers, not only does he have a fumbling problem in big games, he's just not a wide receiver 1. Rashad Bateman also had 0 catches tonight, 1 target. So that's 2 first-round picks that honestly have been underwhelming throughout the entirety of their career. Big had some great games in some spots, of course. Really explosive plays on the hands of Zay Flowers, but underwhelming overall. I mean, Zay Flowers is not a wide receiver 1. As I said before, Lamar had 2 fumbles tonight. Both of them were lost. Isaiah Likely had a fumble tonight, lost it. Zay Flowers had a fumble as well tonight. The offense for the Ravens, not only was the play calling horrible, they should have easily relied on the run more. Lamar Jackson, people call him the greatest passer in the NFL history. Doubt it. And this is an example why. Don't blame this game on injury, guys. Because not only is he playing the worst defense in the NFL, he was looking the healthiest he's looked these past 4 games. So don't blame it on injury. If this was Josh Allen, there'd be think pieces on why he's the most overrated quarterback in the NFL and why he's been horrible this year. Lamar Jackson's playing the worst defense in the NFL by a lot of metrics, and he looked horrible tonight. That's inexcusable. For a guy who's won the amount of MVPs he has, the guy who has the amount of first-team All-Pros he has, a guy heralded as much as he is. Your team is getting momentum despite of you, and now you're in a Thursday night primetime game on Thanksgiving playing the worst defense in the NFL, a 3-8 team, and you play horrible. You can argue 90% of the reason why the Ravens lost this game is because of Lamar Jackson and how bad he was. Sure, if Likely scores that touchdown, the Ravens lose this game 32-21. Who cares? You still lost the game. Lamar is horrible. So all the people who were shitting on Josh Allen when he had 6 touchdowns and 2 picks against the Bucks, oh, he had 6 touchdowns, but he was horrible. And people who were shitting on him in the Texans game when he played the best defense in the NFL, mind you, you guys need to close your mouth. Close it. Because all you guys who were talking all that shit are Lamar fans, and what did he do against the worst defense in the NFL? Come back to this video. Josh Allen is going to cook this Bengals defense next week, and I'll be there in attendance. I can't wait. Sure, bro might cook our defense. I'm not going to be surprised if that happens, and there's about a 90% chance that that happens because T. Higgins is going to be back probably with Jamar Chase. So, but Josh Allen's going to cook this defense. I'm telling you, and Lamar couldn't. Don't blame it on the injury. But man, everything looked bad tonight. The play calling from Tom Munkin, the expressions from Harbaugh on the sideline, and their best player looked like shit. So the Ravens, they fall to 6-6, and the Bengals, they moved to 4-8, heading into Buffalo on a 10-day rest. Buffalo, you better win this game against the Steelers, man. I swear to God, you better win this game. You better. You better. You better. You better. Because if we head into that Bengals game 7-5, we might lose that Bengals game, and we might be 7-6 if we lose the Steelers game and the Bengals game. Moving on to Black Friday. We have NFL football on Black Friday. Clap it up. Clap it up. Clap it the fuck up. This is actually a pretty interesting game as well. Bears heading to Philly. The Bears are 8-3 and the Philadelphia Eagles are 8-3 as well. What a game. 3 o'clock start. I mean, how can't you be excited for this game? What a game. What a game. Jalen Johnson is questionable. Kyle Gordon is out. So is Tyreek Stevenson for the Bears defense. Both of them are cornerbacks. I assume Jalen Johnson's not going to play, so that's three corners that are going to be out for the Bears. Lane Johnson's out for the Eagles. Will Lampkin's out for the center for the Eagles, and another tackle, Miles Hinton, for the Eagles is out as well. So their O line is banged up. But outside of that, everyone else is good to go on the Eagles. This is a really interesting game. I got to go with the Eagles here. That defense for the Bears is really banged up, and I think A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith have a field day this week, and I think Jalen Hurts kind of obliterates this Bears secondary. Now, is Jalen Hurts one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL? No. Is he on my fantasy team? Yes. Do I think he's elite? No. But I think the Bears are due, and I think the Eagles are going to shine bright on offense this week. I'm actually very interested in the Bears this week and how Ben Johnson looks coaching this Eagles team. Sirianni versus Ben Johnson is a really interesting matchup coaching wise. So I'm really interested how this game turns out. The Eagles coming off honestly a good loss against the Cowboys. I know they were up 21 to nothing, but the Cowboys are a really good team. So that loss doesn't look that bad in hindsight. I think the Eagles are going to be fired up playing the Chicago Bears this week. And I think the Bears, all the momentum and all the wins they've had recently, they are due. I mean, they are just due. They've won four in a row. They're not going to win five in a row. I think Caleb Williams struggles. I think the wide receiving core of the Bears struggles. And I think they can barely run the ball as well. I think the Eagles dominate on defense. I think the Eagles score enough points on offense to get this win by a good margin. The line for this game is -7 Eagles. I think they cover that. Philadelphia Eagles win, and I think A.J. Brown scores another touchdown this week. Moving on to Sunday, guys, and we don't have a long slate. And honestly, it's not that good of a slate. I'll be honest. I'll be plain and dry with you guys. It's not a good slate. The Bills are at 425. Now, I won't go with the Bills first, okay? I just won't. As much as I want to, I'm not selfish. I'm worried about that game. I am. I shouldn't be, but I'm worried. But let's get into the 1 o'clock slate first, and then I'll talk about the Buffalo Bills. The Jaguars are heading into Tennessee against the 1-10 Titans. The Jaguars are 7-4. They have a wild card spot currently. And man, if you're a Ravens and Chiefs fan, you are hoping the Jaguars lose this game, especially if you're a Chiefs fan. If the Titans were to win another game this year, this is the spot. This is the spot at home against the Jaguars, who have a really good record. They have an opportunistic defense, but that offense, especially Trevor Lawrence, is inconsistent, and Trevor Lawrence has plainly been bad this year. Trevor Lawrence, 14 touchdowns and 11 interceptions on the season. He has not been good. As much as I like his intangibles, as much as I like his ceiling, despite his seasons in the NFL being underwhelming since he's been the first overall pick and he was touted to be this all-time great, he's been underwhelming, especially this year. I don't know how to feel about this game. I think the Jaguars win. I think they struggle to start this game, but ultimately the talent is a huge discrepancy on the Titans. Do the Tennessee Titans have good talent on defense? Of course, but on offense, I think I see Cam Ward struggling here. I think I see the Jaguars defense, which is opportunistic and will make the right plays at the right time against teams that are susceptible to those type of things. This is the perfect spot for the Jaguars defense, and I think Cam Ward struggles with the pressure that the Jaguars D-line is able to generate, and I think Cam Ward throws 2 picks or less, maybe one at least. And that Titans run game is non-existent, to be honest. I think they struggle to run the ball against the Jaguars. And ultimately, I think this Jaguars team is better coached, and I think they have the better roster. So as much as I want to make a risky and frisky pick here with the Titans, I just can't, because I don't believe in this Titans team, despite how much I think Cam Ward is a good quarterback and will be a good quarterback. I just think that receiving core is underwhelming, and I think Cam Ward is a rookie and he's liable to make mistakes against this opportunistic defense. So give me Liam Cohen, give me Trevor Lawrence, who's been inconsistent, but hopefully he has a good game here. Would I be surprised if Trevor Lawrence laid an egg? Would I be surprised if the Jaguars laid an egg here? No. But I'm still picking them to win. And I'm picking them to cover -6.5 or -7, whatever it is. I think it's actually down to -5.5. I'm picking them to cover that. But I could see this being a close game. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans win, but I'm not teetering with that. I'm not teetering the line here and picking the Titans. So give me ETN, Lawrence, Parker Washington. Give me those boys, Arik Armstead, Josh Allen Hines. Give me the Jaguars to head into Tennessee and get a big win. 8-4 they move to, and the Titans fall to 1-11. And honestly, give me Parker Washington to score again. I love this dude on special teams, and he's been the most consistent wide receiver, depending on health and production. He's been the most consistent wide receiver on the Jaguars. So give me the Jaguars. They moved 8-4 in a big win. Moving on, a lot of bad games on this 1 o'clock slate. I will be brutally honest with you guys. Rams heading to Carolina. Carolina has been really good at home. Really good at home. But honestly, what we saw last week with the Panthers is probably what we're going to see against the Rams, if not worse. The 49ers were only able to beat the Panthers 20-9, and honestly, that's just due to how bad Brock Purdy were. That's just due to how bad Brock Purdy was. Bryce Young and Brock Purdy were having a mid-off, which is an insult to Brock Purdy, but hey, that's what was happening. Um, I think the Rams beat the piss out of the Panthers. Maybe the Rams walk into this game sleepwalking and walking into this game with no respect for the Panthers, which is possible. And usually in scenarios like that, you see a team fight back and teetering on the line of victory. I don't think Bryce Young is a good enough quarterback to compete with this really great Rams defense. Really underrated talent on this Rams defense and great coaching by the defensive coordinator on the Rams. I think Bryce Young is a bad quarterback, and I think he's going to look really bad this week. And I think this might be the last season for Bryce Young. I think I'm done. The little stock I have with Bryce Young is sold. And one of my best buddies has a lot of stock in Bryce Young. And he called me after that 49ers game and said, hey, I'm out. Sell all the stocks. So, as much as I like Dowdle and McMillan, as much as I like Derek Brown and J.C. Horn, which I believe J.C. Horn is going to be out, he's questionable with a concussion, so he's most likely out. I think the Rams dominate. I think Panthers are going to have a hard time scoring a touchdown, let alone a field goal. I could see this game being like 24-3, 30-3, and the Rams benching their starters by the third quarter. So the Rams win. Stafford continues his MVP run, and the Rams keep cooking, and they keep looking like the best team in the NFL. Rams win by 10 or more, and the Carolina Panthers, they move to below 500. Moving on, the Saints head into Miami. Miami, they've been kind of hot lately. They're coming off a bye. Their last game was against the Commanders. They're 2 wins in a row, Bills and Commanders. And now they have the New Orleans Saints. They have Tyler Shuck and company coming into town. And now, I started off the season as a Saints man, as I hope you would know if you keep on revisiting this video, which a lot of people aren't. But this Saints team, man, they should have won that Falcons game. They really should have. And they lost it. Offensive play calling was horrible. Them relying on Taysom Hill in the end zone, in the red zone, was horrible. I think the Miami Dolphins are more talented here. They have way more offensive firepower. They have way more reliability at the quarterback position. And Tua Tagovailoa, I don't think is great at all, but he is way, way, way better for quarterback than the opposing quarterback. And this offense is way more reliable and has far better play calling than the Saints offense. Now, does the Saints defense have good players? Yes. But I'm sorry. I don't care how good of a defense you have. When you're on the sideline watching your offense play and you got to watch your offense be the New Orleans Saints, you're going to start playing less inspired. So I think the Dolphins extend their win streak to 3 games. And I think they're now 5-7. And somehow they're still in the wild card hunt, which obviously they're not going to make the playoffs. But I think Tua Tagovailoa, Devon Achane, Jalen Waddle, and possibly even Darren Waller, who might be back this week. I think he might be returning. I'm not too sure. But the Dolphins got healthier after a bye, and I think Waddle, Achane, Tua Tagovailoa, and Mike McDaniel are enough to get the job done here in Miami at home against the Saints. Wow. I'll say this. I wouldn't be surprised if the Miami Dolphins lay an egg, but I'm not going to fucking pick Tyler Shuck and Kellen Moore to get the job done, and Taysom Hill. As long as you're drawing up pass plays for Taysom Hill in the red zone on your own 5, as long as you're calling wildcat runs for Taysom Hill in the year 2025 within your opponent's 5, I'm not picking you. So, Dolphins, they extend their win streak to 3 games. They move to 5-7, and the Saints continue to fight for a high draft pick. They fall to 2-10. Moving on, another bad game. Just plainly another bad game. The Falcons are heading into New Jersey. They're heading into MetLife. The Falcons are 4-7. The Jets are 2-9. The Falcons got their first win in a while this past week. Um, this is a tough game. Tyrod Taylor starting at quarterback for the New York Jets. Justin Fields is officially benched. I think Drake London makes his return this week. Not too sure. No Garrett Wilson for the Jets. Um, Honestly, I'm just going with defense here. I think this Jets offense is bad, especially without Garrett Wilson. Listen, I like Brees Hall, and I actually like the O line for the Jets. I actually think this is a good O line, but I think this Falcons D line and this defense overall is really, really, really good. I think it's a well coached defense. I think the two rookies they have off the edge, Walker and Pierce Jr., are terrific. I like their secondary. I like their safety duo. I like Xavier Watts quite a bit. And I think their defense wins this game. Now, do I know Kirk Cousins is at the helm? Of course. Do I know he's a statue? Of course, but I don't really fear this Jets defense. As much as I like Aaron Glenn, I don't fear this Jets defense. And I think this is going to be a low scoring game. And I'm going to pick the veteran and Kirk Cousins to get the job done. And I'm going to pick this Falcons defense, which is really good, maybe even great. And I think this defense has a chance to be one of the best defenses in the NFL in the future. And I think they're going to show glimmers of that this weekend, and I think they're going to hold the Jets to 7 or less points this weekend. And I think Kirk Cousins gets the job done. He gets 2 wins in a row as a starting quarterback, and I think the Falcons they move their win streak to 2 wins, and I think the Falcons move to 5-7, and I think their defense gets the job done here. Give me the Falcons minus 2.5 in MetLife. I think it might get ugly for the Jets this weekend. I think Tyrod Taylor, as much as I like him, former Buffalo Bill, hell yeah, brother, but I don't think he's moving the needle enough this weekend to get the win. So give me the Falcons. They move to 5-7, and the Jets move to 2-10. Probably to a lot of fans' preference. Moving on, the 49ers head into Cleveland to face Shador and this Quinshawn Junkins Wildcat-led offense. I'm actually confident here, guys. I'm confident. I watched Brock Purdy look really bad against the Carolina Panthers defense, which I like two players on that defense, J.C. Horn and Derek Brown. I think those two are all pros. I watched, I really watched that man Brock Purdy struggle quite mightily. And this Browns defense is a top 3 defense in the NFL. Myles Garrett has 18.5 sacks or 17.5 sacks through week 13. And he's probably going to finish this weekend with 3 to 4. That's how good that man is. That's how all-time great he is. And I think Brock Purdy's going to start seeing ghosts. And I think the question is going to loom large after this game. Is Mac Jones our guy for the rest of the season? Because at the end of the day, yeah, I don't think you can make that change if Brock Purdy's healthy because you paid him that much money. Was it 256? But if we fall to 8-5 and Brock Purdy finishes these past 2 weeks with 1 touchdown and 5 picks, like I think you might have to make your change to Mac Jones because Mac Jones on the year 201 completions on 289 passing attempts, 2,151 yards passing, 13 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. McCaffrey is the most consistent guy on this offense outside of Kittle, but Kittle is great blocking. He has been that great receiving this year because of health, and he just hasn't found it this year. But I really think this Browns defense is going to cause major problems for Brock Purdy. I think he's going to see ghost. Now, the thing is, you can be like, Matt, the same could be said for the 49ers defense against this Browns offense, which Shador Sanders is at the helm, and the wide receiver core isn't scary. And quite honestly, this O-line isn't much to praise. I understand that sentiment. But to be completely honest, this 49ers defense, greatly coached, I think the injuries they've been having on that defense shines bright this week and becomes evident that it's hard to overcome. Because I think the Browns defense will put this Browns offense in really good field position to score points, at least 3. And I think the Browns will do enough to win this game defensively. And I think Shador Sanders will have an all right day. Is he going to be great? No. Is he going to be game changing? No. But I do like him way more than Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel has cleared the concussion protocol, but Shador is starting for a reason. You can't go back to my boy Dylan Gabriel, man. You just can't. So give me Shador Sanders, Judkins, Fannin Jr., Njoku, Bond, Judy. Judy, just don't make any stupid plays this week, and the Browns will win, in my opinion. That Browns defense is going to get the job done here. And I think the Browns hold the 49ers to 10 or less points. And I think the Browns are going to be able to score 13 or slightly more points, like 13 to 17 points this weekend. So I think the Browns win this game 13 to 10, 17 to 10. And I think Shador Sanders gets his second win as a starting quarterback in a row. So give me the Browns outright as underdogs at home. And by the way, the Cleveland Browns are really good at home. So give me plus 4.5 Browns and their money line. And give me Shador Sanders to scramble one in. Moving on. Another game I'm quite confident in here. I'm liking a lot of dogs this week. Thanksgiving had three of the dogs went outright, and I think that might be a trend heading into Sunday outside of the Black Friday game. The Texans heading to Indianapolis, and I love this game. I love this game. I think the Texans are going to brutalize this Colts offense. Now, Daniel Jones is battling with a fibula injury. I forget what a fractured fibula, and there's been some footage of him in practice hobbling around and not looking good. He's moving like Joe Biden. He's looking like Joe Biden out there. It has not looked good for him out there on that practice field. But he's gonna go. He's gonna tough it out. And I'll tell you what. After watching my boy Josh Allen against this Texans defense, I can't imagine what Daniel Jones is gonna look like against this Texans defense. Now, granted, this is an in-division opponent, so the Colts know the Texans better than anybody outside of the two other teams in the division. Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter, man, they are havoc makers. And I don't care who's starting at the Texans quarterback. And to be quite honest, the offense hasn't looked that much different with Davis Mills compared to CJ Stroud at the helm. So I think there will be havoc caused by this defense of the Texans. And I think the Colts lose their second game in a row. And I think the Texans move to 7-5. And I think the Colts move to 8-4, which is big for the AFC. I think this Texans team, is really great. And I think this defense is Super Bowl caliber. And I don't think the Texans are going to get the Super Bowl, but this defense is Super Bowl caliber. So if they don't get there this season, if they somehow fix up this offense, specifically their offensive line, then this Houston Texans team is Super Bowl bound sooner rather than later, in my opinion. So give me the Texans and give me this defense, man. I think Petrie and company, Stingley, Lassiter, Bullock, Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter, Al-Shaair, they caused major problems for this Colts defense that struggled against a slightly worse defense than the Chiefs last week. Or maybe even a much worse. And that's not slight to the Chiefs defense, but that Texans defense is that much better. So give me the Texans outright, heading into Indianapolis against an in-division opponent, getting a huge win, their third straight win in a row. Give me the Texans. They get the job done here. They move to 7-5, and the Colts 4-8-4. They lose their second game in a row. Give me Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter to get a sack in that game as well. And quick thing, I know the Colts offense is really good. They're not going to look good Sunday. Moving on. The last game of the 1 o'clock slate. The Cardinals. They head into Tampa Bay. And we don't know who's going to be at quarterback this week for the Tampa Bay Bucks. I assume Baker Mayfield's going to tough it out because he's a tough son of a bitch. I mean, he's just tough. But the injuries for the Bucks are becoming overwhelming. Now, the wide receiver core is as healthy as it can get right now. No Mike Evans still, but Chris Godwin, he's back. Emeka Ibuka, he's back and healthy. Tez Johnson, the same gang's there outside of Mike Evans. I like this Cardinals team to win this game more without Baker Mayfield, but I still kind of like them to win this game with Baker Mayfield. I think this Cardinals defense is underrated. I think this is a better team than what their record would tell you. And I think this offense is actually pretty good. And I think this Bucks defense is so bad that Jacoby Brissett will be able to light up this Bucks defense. I think this passing game is elite for the Cardinals. As elite as it can get with Jacoby Brissett at the helm. Michael Wilson is looking like a legitimate wide receiver 2 when Marvin Harrison returns. And I think Marvin Harrison might return this week. So it's going to be Marvin Harrison, Dortch, Michael Wilson, Trey McBride, who might be the best tight end in the NFL. Trey McBride has 80 receptions this year, 797 yards receiving, and 7 TDs. Now, the Cardinals can't run the ball without James Conner, but DeMarcado and Bam Knight will get the job done enough to win this game. So without Baker Mayfield, I like the Cardinals win outright. With Baker Mayfield, I still like the Cardinals quite a bit in this game, but I prefer them to cover. So I think the line without Baker Mayfield will be -$3. Without Baker Mayfield, I think it's going to be -6. So if Baker does play, give me +6. If Baker doesn't play, give me Cardinals outright. And I might even bet Cardinals outright with Baker. So Cardinals, they moved to 4-8. That defense for the Bucks is really bad and banged up, and I think Jacoby Brissett, Michael Wilson, and Marvin Harrison, if he's back, will be able to take advantage of it. Bucks fall to 6-6. Cardinals, they move to 4-8. Moving on to the 4 o'clock slate, and honestly, I'm gonna get the Sunday night football game out of the way because that Sunday night football game sucks, and I'm gonna get the Monday night football game out of the way as well because I'm gonna talk about the Bills last, and I wanna maybe not go on a huge rant about them, but I want to talk about them in depth. So I'll get the 4 o'clock games out of the way and the Monday night game out the way quickly because these games aren't worth talking about. I'll be honest. The Vikings, they head into Seattle. Seahawks are one of the hottest teams in the NFL. Max Brosmer is probably going to get the start for the Vikings. JJ McCarthy is injured, and honestly, that might play a benefit to the Vikings, but who knows how good Max Brosmer is. The Vikings are 4-7. The Seahawks are 8-3, and the Seahawks are going to cook here again. They have one of the best defenses in the NFL. They have one of the best offenses in the NFL. They have maybe the best wide receiver in the NFL right now, Jackson Smith and Jigba. And they have two decent running backs, Kenny Walker and Zach Charbonnet. I know the Vikings have Justin Jefferson. I know they have Jordan Addison. I know they have Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones. But am I going to trust Max Brosmer to head into Seattle and get this victory? Now, I know this Vikings defense is much better than you might think it is with this 4-7 record the Vikings have. But that doesn't matter to me. I don't think this defense will be able to stop this Seahawks offense enough to get the job done. And honestly, this defense watching this offense perform on the sideline, they're not going to have any fight or inspiration to go out there and put out a good performance. So give me the Seahawks. They continue to roll. I mean, they just continue to bulldoze. Outside of the Rams game, which was an impressive game by them, outside of the result, the Seahawks have won 1, 2, 3, 4. They would have won their 6 out of the last 7 if they get this victory here against the Vikings at home. The Seahawks do it for the 12th man this weekend. They do it for the 12th man in Seattle, and the Seahawks get the job done. Give me Sam Darnold, Kenny Walkers, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Leonard Williams, Tyreek Woolen and company on defense. Let's go Seahawks. Get the job done. I think you do, and I think you cover the 11-point spread. They win by 11 or more, and the Vikings, they are looking angry after getting rid of Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold. Because JJ McCarthy, I feel like you know when a guy doesn't have it, and I feel like you guys know and myself know JJ McCarthy doesn't have it. So anyone who has stock in JJ McCarthy, let me know in the comments because how the hell do you still have stock in JJ McCarthy? And just let me know why you have stock in JJ McCarthy. Because you might be the only person who does left in this world. Seahawks, they move to 9-3. The Vikings, they fall to 4-8. Moving on. The Raiders, they head into LA to play the LA Chargers. Interesting game. Not really. The Chargers are coming off a bye after a brutal loss against the Chargers 35-6. The Raiders look like one of the worst teams in the NFL. They have the worst O-line in the NFL, and it's disastrous. This Raiders team is disastrous. They haven't won a game in 5 weeks, and that was against the Titans. It's a miracle how they beat the Patriots in the first game of the year. Um, this Raiders offensive line is just so bad. And I know you can say the same thing about the Chargers, but they have injuries. And the Raiders offensive line doesn't really. I mean, the Chargers have Alt and Slater out. Or at least just Alt. So the Chargers are cooked on offense. They're missing their starting 2 running backs, even though Hampton might come back this weekend. I think he comes back the week after. But they are cooked on offense, man. Their O-line can't protect Herbert. He's the most pressured quarterback in the NFL. And they can't run the ball. So Herbert has to throw the ball a lot of times during the game, but he has no time to do so. He's getting banged up week after week. And somehow I still think they win this game. Just because of how bad this Raiders defense is and how good this Chargers defense will be against this Raiders offensive line. Khalil Mack and company against this Raiders O-line. Good luck. Good luck, Geno Smith. Good luck, Ashton Jeanty. Good luck, Trey Tucker and Deontay Thornton and Tyler Lockett. Good luck getting receptions this week. Good luck getting good looks this week. Max Crosby, I love him. One of my favorite players in the NFL, especially on the defense. I love Devin White. it's going to be a bad day for you guys because, yes, you might do a good enough job on defense, but you're going to have to watch Geno Smith throw a pick or two. And then you're going to have to watch sack after sack after sack that your offensive line lets up. So I think the Raiders continue to struggle. They might be the worst team in the NFL outside of the Titans because they beat the Titans. That O line is that bad. So give me the Chargers. They get a win. They moved 8-4. They get a much needed win after a bye. They got healthy after the bye, and they get a win. They moved 8-4. The Raiders fall to 2-10, and they continue to be abysmal. Moving on to the Sunday night game, the Broncos head into Washington. Jaden Daniels may or may not be back. I think he's going to be back, which is crazy to me. Why would the Commanders play him? I know I said the same thing about Burrow with the Bengals, but that kind of makes a little bit more sense because that division is so bad. But the division is out of reach here. And I think the division for the Bengals is out of reach too, to be quite honest, unless the Bengals pull off a miracle and unless the Ravens and Steelers just completely fall off the deep end. But Jaden Daniels has been really injury prone. And I know the same thing for Burrow, but I think Burrow's trying to build momentum in the next season. And I guess the same can be said for Jaden Daniels, but I wouldn't put him out there. I really wouldn't. Especially not against this defense. Not against this pressure that he's going to face. Zach Allen, Nick Bonito, good luck. Why is this a Sunday night football game? I get it. I get why it was before the season, but flex the shit out of this game. I don't know why they didn't. It's kind of crazy. Why is this still a Sunday night football game? The Broncos are coming off a bye. And I know the Broncos underperform and underwhelm in various spots over this season, but they're not going to do so here. They aren't. They just aren't. Listen, the Washington Commanders have the oldest defense in the NFL, and it shows week in, week out whenever they play. I know the Commanders are coming off a bye as well, but that doesn't matter to me. They can't run the ball consistently. They can't pass the ball consistently. And Jaden Daniels, coming off an injury, is going to be able to run the ball and create plays like he normally does when he's healthy against this good of a defense? I doubt it. I doubt it. I think this Broncos defense dominates. I think this offense does a good enough job to get points on the board so they win this game. I think Bo Nix doesn't struggle. I think he has a fairly good day. And despite J.K. Dobbins being out for the rest of this year, I think they run the ball quite well against the Commanders. Now, the Commanders defense, despite being old, fights. It does. But I'm sorry. This Commanders team is moving to 3-9, and the Broncos are moving to 10-2. And would I be shocked if the Broncos laid an egg? Yeah, I would. I would, because that's how much I think the Broncos are a good team, and that's how highly I think of this defense. If they lose this game, the Broncos, it's not on their defense. It's going to be on their offense, putting their defense in impossible situations. But even in impossible situations they might be found in the defense, they will somehow limit the Commanders to 3 points or a turnover. So give me the Broncos against the Commanders that might have Jaden Daniels or might have Marcus Mariota again. So Broncos win. They move to 10-2 on Sunday Night Football. Washington Commanders, they moved to 3-9. And I think it might be safe to say I'm recording my podcast earlier that night because of this game, or at least watching it while I'm recording, because that game, little to no interest in it. I would have interest in it if the Broncos somehow lose, though, but they won't. Monday Night Football, before we get to the Bills game. Giants are 2-10 heading into Foxborough. The Patriots are 10-2. Giants 2-10. Patriots are one of the hottest teams in the NFL. Jackson Dart is back. He's back. Scadaboo's still not here. Out for the year. Neighbors out for the year. But Dart is back. If it's not Dart, it's going to be Winston, which doesn't matter to me. I like Winston quite a bit. Harold Henry is questionable for the Patriots. Hunter Henry is questionable for the Patriots. Tonga is questionable for the Patriots. Schooler is questionable for the Patriots. And Morgan Moses is questionable for the Patriots as well. Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, and Newbin are questionable for the Giants, but I assume they play. So, whether or not those players play or do not play, I've been telling my Giants buddies all week, I think the Giants win this game outright. And I'm a Bills fan, if you didn't know. I'm a Bills fan. So that might be me manifesting this, but I legitimately think the Giants win outright here. But I generally think the Giants win this game outright as an underdog, or at least cover, with or without Jameis Winston, with or without Dart. I think the Giants win here. And I think this shakes up the AFC. Now, the Patriots will be 10-3. The Bills, hopefully after this week, will be 8-4. It will be a big result for the Bills. It will be a big result for the AFC, and the AFC would have gotten that much more interesting with the loss of the Patriots on Monday night. But I actually think this Giants team is way, way, way better than the record. They're 2-10. They're not a 2-10 caliber team. This is a team that is getting better on defense week week in, week out, and their offense is actually pretty goddamn good. Tyrone Tracy, Devin Singletary, Wanda Robinson, Hodgins, Theo Johnson, Bellinger. Like this offense is competent, and this offensive line is competent with Andrew Thomas and Brian Burns, Okereke. Like this is a good defense on paper, and they do have really good disruptive plays. They create chaos, and it's specifically Brian Burns. So I think the Patriots will lose this game. I think Drake May struggles. Would I be surprised if the Patriots beat the Giants? Absolutely not. Would I be surprised if Drake May shines bright here? Absolutely not. But I think habitually the Giants compete greatly against the Patriots. I don't know what the Giants have against the Patriots that they compete so well against them, but they will compete greatly against the Patriots on Monday Night Football, and they will get the win. So give me the Giants outright. Dart out competes Drake May. He gets the victory, and he outplays Drake May. Write it down right now. The Giants beat the Patriots Monday night. They get the win. I know the Giants are rooting for a draft pick at this point, or a high one, but this can be your last one of the year, and you guys are going to be so happy heading into the next year because you guys are probably going to be a playoff team next year if your defense pans out better without Shane Bowen and if your offense stays healthy, which if it does, you guys have a really good offense. No Shane Bowen this week for the Giants. Apparently, he's been a terrorist for you guys. Giants fans are rejoicing in the streets like the Great War just ended. So, I think no Shane Bowen this week means happiness for Giants fans, and I think it's probably going to be their second to last win in the NFL this season or their last one. And Giants fans are going to be happy about it. The Giants, they moved to 3-10, and the Patriots fall to 10-3. Now, I was talking about the Bills versus Steelers. I don't have a great rant to go on with this game, but this is a big game. A tremendously big game. I guess the game isn't as big as it would be if the Chiefs and Ravens both won this week, but it's still a big game. It's still a big game. I mean, we have a tiebreaker over the Chiefs, we have a tiebreaker over the Ravens, but this is still a big game, and the Bills want to get a win. You listen to the quotes from Josh Allen and McDermott this week, they realize the sense of urgency they need to have. They haven't looked good on offense. The defense, despite how inconsistent and underwhelming it's been, has given us chances to win, and our offense hasn't came through. So hopefully they figured it out because this is a 10-day rest, and we're heading to this game banged up. Josh Palmer isn't playing probably. Maxwell Harrison probably will play. Spencer Brown is doubtful, our right tackle. He looked horrible in the Texans game. He should have pulled himself earlier, but he's probably not going to play. Deion Dawkins, our left tackle, one of the highest paid left tackles in the NFL, one of the very best left tackles in the NFL. He's questionable with a concussion, probably not going to play. We are banged up heading into this game. Kincaid is questionable, but he's the most likely to play out of him and Palmer. I mean, this is a tremendously big game. I don't know what the quarterback for. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be for the Steelers. It's either Mason Rudolph or Aaron Rodgers. Doesn't matter to me. The Steelers have the highest paid defense in the NFL. They've been horrible all year. We should beat this team. This is what kind of worries me. I hate to be superstitious about things, but here's how the past 4 games for the Steelers have went. Loss, win, loss, win, loss. I don't know how people react to shit like that, but that worries me. In the past 6 games, it was loss, loss, win, loss, win, loss. So maybe this is the double loss here, but that kind of worries me. Every time Josh Allen plays the Bills, we usually win. I think we've only lost 1 time to the Steelers in the past 4 or 5 matchups. One of those matchups was against Duck Hodges, though. So Mason Rudolph and Aaron Rodgers at this point of his career are better than Duck Hodges. Ultimately, the Steelers team doesn't scare me, man. And I hate to say it because I've been let down by the Buffalo Bills this year. This run game for the Steelers doesn't scare me. Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell don't scare me. DK Metcalf, scariest receiver on this team, doesn't scare me. He only has 9 more receiving yards than Shakir this year. Do you know how much DK Metcalf is paid? That's embarrassing. Honestly, the only thing about the Steelers team that scares me is superstitiously. It's Mike Tomlin as a home dog playing one of the best teams in the NFL. Usually in this spot, you take the Steelers. At least take the points. And honestly, I know the Steelers defense has been underperforming this year and one of the worst defenses in the NFL, but these are the type of scenarios where the Steelers defense plays above their standards and shows out. They are the highest paid defense in the NFL for a reason. So I would not be surprised if they somehow put out a really good performance this week. But I know this might sound crazy to say. I think the Bills need this game more, or they're going to want it more at least. Josh Allen is going to look like Superman this weekend, despite his O-line being banged up. This is going to be a game where we heavily rely on James Cook, and I think James is going to cook. And Kincaid being back would be huge for us. If we are without Kincaid and Josh Palmer, that will suck. But we just signed Brandon Cooks, which I have to talk about, by the way. How desperate does that signing seem? Brandon Beane went on WFAN, or whatever that Bills radio is, cursed out these radio hosts for having the right opinion, and an opinion that aged well. We should have drafted a wide receiver or gotten a wide receiver in the offseason, but Brandon Beane sat on his hands, and he refused to get Jalen Waddle, who would have been the perfect signing for us. Instead, he sat on his hands. He didn't want to give a 2026 first round instead of a 2027. So that's bullshit. So Brandon Beane signing Brandon Cooks. By the way, I like Brandon Cooks when he was in his prime. One of the most explosive receivers of our lifetime. One of the most underrated. But this is year 2025. How much of a difference is Brandon Cooks going to make? Keon Coleman is playing this week. I assume Gabe Davis is going to play this week. So it's going to be Keon Coleman, Brandon Cooks, Shakir, Knox, Kincaid, Hawes, Cooks, Ty Johnson, Ray Davis. I mean, we should win this game. Curtis Samuel, I think, is going to play as well. We should win this game. I trust the Bills to win this game. But we have 10 days rest. We're coming off a brutal loss. We got banged up in that loss, even more so. So, listen, I hope Mad Max plays. I hope our O-line, our backups do a good enough job with both of our tackles out. Josh Allen got sacked 8 to 10 times last week. I forget, and that's embarrassing. It was either 8 or 10 times. But I'm willing to oversee that because we play the best defense in the NFL. Despite the Steelers having the highest paid defense in the NFL, they aren't playing to that standard. They aren't the best defense in the NFL, and they aren't even close to that label. So give me the Bills. They have the better offense. They have the way, way, way better quarterback. And honestly, this might sound crazy because he's the way better head coach all time. The Bills have the better coaching right now. Arthur Smith is not a good OC. Joe Brady, I've had my problems with him this year. At times I wanted him fired, and I might even want him fired still. But he's the better OC than Arthur Smith. Bobby Babich and McDermott are the better DC compared to Tomlin and company. I think Tomlin's been a really bad head coach this year. And honestly, Aaron Rodgers in year 2025, and especially Mason Rudolph, do not strike fear in my heart. Roman Wilson and that receiving core do not strike fear in my heart. The way the Steelers win this game, if they somehow find the ability to run the ball, and honestly, the Texans were able to run the ball against us last week, so who knows? They might be able to. And yes, the defense for the Bills played horrible in the first half against the Texans. They were great in the second half against the Texans. They held the Texans to 32 net yards. So I think that will carry over, especially on 10 days rest. So give me the Buffalo Bills. They bounce back. They cover minus 3.5. Josh Allen plays like Superman, and we continue to build momentum heading into Cincinnati next week, which is a tremendously big game. So let's go Bills. Let's get this win. We're battling adversity this week. We have a lot of pressure. We know what situation we are in. We know how quickly this could break if we lose here. So we need to win. We have a major sense of urgency, especially if you ask two of the most important people in this franchise and organization, Josh Allen, Brandon Beane, and McDermott. They've all acknowledged the sense of urgency they have. And it was evident by the signing of Brandon Cooks. So we know the sense of urgency we have, and every time Josh Allen and McDermott have admitted they are in a tough situation and we have the sense of urgency, they win, and they continue to build momentum. We saw it when we were 6-6, and I think we're going to see it here again, despite having the way better record. So give me the Bills. I think Keon Coleman scores this week. Now, I feel like I've said that every week since week 1, and he hasn't, but give me Keon Coleman to score this week. Keon Coleman, man, you need a big game here. You were a healthy scratch for 2 games in a row, and we could have needed you for both of those games. Keon, show the fuck up this week. It's a serious game, bro. Show up. You could be a big piece for us, man. If Brandon Cook somehow overperforms on what he's been able to give the league these past 2 years, Shakir, Palmer, Kincaid, Brandon Cooks, and Keon, man. That is a good five if you guys can play above your standard, which I think you can, and I think McDermott and Josh Allen can bring that out of you. So give me the Buffalo Bills. The momentum they had on defense in the second half from the Texans game will be brought over into the Steelers game away in Pittsburgh, and I think this offense will play better against a worse defense than the Steelers. We aren't facing Daniil Hunter, Will Anderson, Derek Stinley, Lassiter, and company. We just aren't. We aren't facing this greatly coached and Super Bowl. We aren't facing this greatly coached and Super Bowl caliber defense like we were last week on Thursday Night Football. We are facing the highest paid defense in the NFL that just hasn't been good. Hasn't been good. They've been awful this year. So give me the Buffalo Bills. They moved 8-4. The Steelers, they fall 6-6, and they are tied in first in the AFC North. And this is a big game, and I can't wait to watch it. It's probably going to be the only game I'm focusing on the 425 slate because the rest of that slate is horrible. So that is it for my Week 13 picks. I will give you guys my picks quickly, real quick, and I'll give you my touchdown scores. I have the Eagles beating the Bears and covering -7. I think A.J. Brown scores again. I have the Browns covering and winning outright against the 49ers. I have Shador Sanders getting a touchdown. I have the Jaguars covering and beating the Titans in Tennessee. I have Parker Washington getting a touchdown. I have the Texans heading into Indianapolis and getting a victory outright as underdogs. I have the Texans defense scoring a touchdown. I have the Saints losing to the Dolphins and the Dolphins covering against the Saints. I have Jalen Waddle scoring a touchdown. I have the Falcons beating the Jets in MetLife. I have my boy Kyle Pitts scoring a touchdown. I have Rams dominating the Panthers in Carolina. I have Kyron Williams scoring a touchdown. I have the Cardinals beating the Bucks without Baker and covering at least against Baker. And I have Michael Wilson scoring. I have the Vikings losing to the Seahawks in Seattle. I have the Seahawks dominating the Vikings in Seattle. Give me JSN to score. I have the Chargers covering and beating the Raiders in LA. Give me the Chargers defense to score a touchdown. I have the Broncos heading into Washington against potentially Jaden Daniels and winning. Give me Mims to score a touchdown. I have the Giants heading into Foxborough and beating the Patriots outright as 7-point dogs. Give me Jackson Dart to score a touchdown. And then in the Bills game, I have the Bills covering -3.5 in Pittsburgh against the Pittsburgh Steelers to move to 8-4. I have Josh Allen scoring a touchdown, and I have Keon Coleman scoring a touchdown. So that is my picks and predictions of the Week 13 slate. Those are my breakdowns of the games. Those are my touchdown scores of the games, and those are my bets. It is your boy, Matt Talk Sports. Hopefully you made it through this whole video. Hopefully you had a good time, and hopefully you had fun talking ball with me. It's your boy, Matt Talk Sports. If you made this far in video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Why not? If you made it this far in video, please just do it. It's a quick click. Just do it. And also, if you like film content, follow me everywhere at Matt Talks Films, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And I will see you there. And next week, I will see you guys for a Week 14 breakdown for picks. But also, I'll see you before that because on Monday, I'll be releasing my recap of Week 13. Hopefully, it's a good week for me as a Bills fan. Hopefully, you guys don't see me nearly battling a heart attack again because that's what happened last week. So, it is your boy, Matt Talks Sports, aka Matt Talks Films. Hope you guys had a good time with me. And guess what? I'll see you Monday.